Air It Out Radio is the queen of internet radio. Make sure y'all check out the website, airitoutradio.net. Hopefully, we good to go. I think we are. We're going to see in a second. Hold on one second. I had to start all over again. All right. Oh, no. Yeah, to go back. Okay. There we go. Oh. Hopefully, he will pop back on. I sent them a message. So, hopefully, that worked. Hopefully that worked. I won't know until he comes on. All right, check out the website, airitoutradio.net, ladies and gentlemen. We have our guest that's popping in right now. Guess we're good to go. Courtney Benjamin.
Hey,
Oh,
how you doing?
um, let's turn your camera.
There we
There
go.
we go. Yay! Oh,
Oh,
okay.
there we go.
We're
Okay.
almost there. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. All right, we in here now.
Woo!
How you
Oh
doing?
my God. I thought I lost you. I was like, oh no, please. Oh man.
Yeah, we all good now.
Well, thank you so much. I'm honored to have you, ladies and gentlemen, to the Air It Out Radio platform. We got Benjamin, Courtney Benjamin. You got two first names,
Two of them. Yeah, two of the mugs.
right? How'd you manage to get both of them?
That's my mom and dad. They, you know, just got blessed with two first names.
Right. You lucky, because that's rare. Like people have, two of the first names.
hmm
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you in ATL right now?
Yeah, I'm ATL. Yep, just got back from New York.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
That
we had a show
I
down there.
could have did it live with you out there. Cause we in
Ah,
Philly.
dang.
We in
Oh,
Philly. I
sure.
over.
Okay, dang.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. I just got in this morning.
Okay, so you be traveling up. Okay. All
Oh
right, ladies
yeah.
and gentlemen. We got the songwriter, artist, manager, husband, father of three. You know what I'm saying? And he does a lot more, but we're gonna just like keep it neutral with that. Um, I did see something about acting. Was that true or false?
Yeah, yeah. I used to do a little acting back in the day. Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you first started with your wife. She was your first artist, Christine, right?
Yes,
Christina? Okay.
Christina Benjamin. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, okay. I was looking at some of her videos. She's real pretty. You
Thank
know?
you.
Yeah, real pretty. I said, how do you manage like having a really pretty artist, in the midst of all these men?
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? They might be trying to holler at or whatever. How do you deal with that?
So it's just trust. You know what I'm saying? I trust my wife. And we got God in it. You know what I'm saying? So like
Right.
that's all I can say, man. I'm confident with mine, and I know my wife believe in me, and I believe in her. We got a strong bond. We've been married for it's going on 21 years this year.
Wow. 21 years. Ooh. So you go to the church Living Waters? Is that the name of your church?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We went to Living Waters Church back when we were in Detroit, but since we moved to Atlanta, we got introduced to Dr. Darius Daniels through I think it was Jackie Clark Chisholm that introduced us to Dr. Darius, and we've been going to Change Church while we've been in Atlanta.
Okay. Is it hard trying to find a new church, like coming from that church? You've been there for a while and then trying to come over here to a whole different church. Is it hard?
Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely was. So it took us about maybe about a year and a half.
Mm.
And then because like sometimes we would just fly back to Detroit just to go to church because it was just like, man, and we just couldn't find nothing that like gel with us down here until Jackie was like, Dr. Darius is down there. And I was like, Dr. Darius, I was like, that name sound familiar. And then I was like, man, I'll be watching his videos all the time and didn't even know that he was like right up the street from us. But now he's about we go to the DeKalb location, so that's about 45 minutes from us.
Oh, okay. When did you get into being like be more religious? Like was it at a younger age or did you get it like later on down the road? Did something happen?
Yeah, no, it was from little, my grandmother would always take me to church. I got baptized, I think, when I was around like I think 8 or 9 or something like that.
Mm,
And she always kept me in church. And then from me being in church with her all the time, it drew my mom into church. And I lost my dad when I was like 7 years old. So, we moved from Chicago to Michigan because she didn't want to raise me in Chicago by herself. So we ended up moving to Pontiac, Michigan, and Auburn Hills, Michigan, and just to be around my brothers and sisters and stuff. So because they were like way older than me. I think my sister was like 21 when I was born. So
mm.
you know,
You done
yeah,
moved
I'm
a
the youngest of eight.
you done moved around
Oh
Chicago.
yeah,
Okay, yeah. So you got a little bit of everything going on. You
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay. So your favorite group, well, I guess you would say who inspired you was Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Bone Thugs all day. Yep,
Right.
Bone
All
Thugs
the
and
time.
Harmony.
And you
Yeah,
was
they're my brothers now.
yeah. Did you ever like interview any of them or like
No, no, I haven't interviewed any of them, but sure, we done all work together in some capacity. I'm always running into them. I got their numbers now. When it comes to like getting royalties and things like that, or different things they may ask, I may reach out to them, or they may reach out to me, and I'll give them some advice on some things. And it's just crazy to turn around and be a fan, and then
yeah,
turn around and do business with them at the end of the day. Like that was my first concert actually when I was
I
16.
I see. Like was you nervous meeting them and everything?
You said what now?
Was you nervous meeting them?
No, no, I actually wasn't. I actually wasn't. It was like it was like a mutual ground. Like I knew them from like we grew up together, man. But it wasn't. I wasn't even starstruck like that, But it
Oh,
was dope. I was in awe though a little bit. I will say that.
yeah. Usually when you meet like the person that you would idolize or whatever, you kind of get that, like you that's dope.
Yeah.
I'm glad you helping out a lot of artists because I seen that you worked with let me see where my notes at Rakim, Michael Jackson,
Mhm.
and Jermaine Jackson, KRS-One, just to name a few. Like that's a big roster of people.
Yeah, it's been a blessing. I've seen how artists that had the money and that had the business sense back in the day, and I've seen the artists that didn't. So when I saw opportunity to help, I was just like, man, shoot, let me just reach out. So I reached out to Matt, and that's how I got in touch with Rakim, and that's Rakim's manager, Matt. And
No.
same thing with like with Michael Jackson's estate and Janet Jackson and stuff. Just reach out to their people. Bronco was open to it. I told him about some different things or whatever. He was, he was open to listen. And I just told him about some things, and he acted on it, and there it went.
Wow.
They had some royalty sitting that was unclaimed, and let me see what else. And with Jermaine, I think it was more so a situation to where we were trying to get a clearance, and he reached back out and gave us the permission, but it came with a hefty fee and stuff like that. So then I told him about he had some royalties missing. So
Mm.
that's how the Jackson family got in the situation,
So
and also his nephew. I'm sorry.
you could basically pull up anybody's information and find out if they're missing royalties?
It all depends. Some of the places you can, and some of the places is some things that you gotta get an attorney involved in and look into.
Uh-huh.
As far as like getting audits and all of that stuff. So, but yeah, it's sure you could go on like AFM, SAG after the trust fund. A lot of times these cats don't have just it may be as simple as address that needs to be updated. It may be a
Wow.
what do they call that? Bank account. Your bank account is old. So they didn't know where to send the money. They didn't know what bank account to put the money in. So they just hold it in the trust until you
Oh,
claim it.
I didn't know that. So anybody this is public record, like anybody can
Public information.
wow.
Yep. And the thing is too is like people be like, man, why you ain't charged? Nah, for what? What I'm saying? That's their money.
You ain't
I
just
just had the knowledge. The relationships was more important than the money.
okay. Yeah, but you ain't,
Oh,
No.
I ain't gonna lie, they did. Some of them did bless me real good with some of the stuff, but some didn't, but yeah, the ones that blessed me, they blessed me, so like it's always an honor to serve. You get a lot out of serving.
That's true, that's true. Sometimes you gotta you do the free stuff and then some stuff comes back tenfold, you know what I mean? So,
For
yeah,
sure, for sure.
I can respect.
And it wasn't like I was dependent on the money as well either, because I still have my entertainment company, where I was managing, well, I'm still managing artists, and then I'm a music publisher as well too. So I have publishing income and all that stuff come in as well too. So it's like it's a different mindset that you operate in when you're not depending on something,
Right,
and you're not in like survival mode and like, dang, I got to get this. You know what I'm saying? Let me get every dollar, and then you end up messing up the whole situation
yeah,
instead of having those word of mouth pieces that's drawing you back in. And now I got publishing agreements with a lot of different people that I would have never met if I would have never met those people that I served.
true, that connections is really dope, to have them, especially with Michael Jackson and the whole Jackson family in general. Did you watch the
Yeah.
movie? Did you see it yet?
No, I have not seen it yet. No, we were supposed to go see it in New York, but then we end up getting caught up in the dang, I can't even think of what's the name. Taraji and Cedric Entertainment's new play that's in New York that's playing. We were all at the restaurant, and we were supposed to go see the movie, and then we got caught up in there, man, kicking it with Mona Scott and Tay Diggs and all of them, and we was just had dinner and the show, and just went from there. And we said we was gonna come back as soon as we get back home. We was gonna go see it. So I'm going to see it tomorrow with my daughter and son.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I
Yeah.
liked it. I enjoyed it. I would see it again, honestly,
Okay.
you know. Shout out to Mona Scott. It's crazy when I was an artist at the time when I was really younger. I was
Mhm.
on her coattail trying to manage me, and she was like, "I'll give you some pointers, but I'm ready to
Yeah.
get to like, TV." That she was just about to like convert over.
Hmm.
And, so, she was like, "I'll tell you what to do, but I ain't really trying to manage nobody else besides Missy at the time." At the time she was managing Missy. So, you know,
Hmm.
but she gave me a lot of good pointers. So shout out to Mona.
Oh
Sh
yeah, yeah, yeah. Real dope person. Real dope.
She's really dope. Now, I'm
Yeah.
like, so clarify this. So you have the artist, is her name Beth?
Beth, yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then
Yep, Siobhan.
Ron, and then what is it, Deja and Sammy?
Yep, Deja Gorbia and then Sammy Kokas.
Right. Now I seen you posting Vita. Is Vita your artist too?
Yep, I manage Vita as well.
What? I love it.
Yeah.
Vita.
Yep, yep.
It's crazy because I know they're not together or whatever, but I interviewed Pam like years ago. But
Hmm.
yeah, Vita's super dope, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's Kima's sister. Kima is the one that's in Total. So Kima and Keisha is right now is with Total. So I'm co-managing them. So
That's dope. That's really dope. And they all from Jersey, right? I think they
all of
all
them from Jersey.
yeah, I'm from Jersey.
Hmm.
So,
That's what's up.
you know what I mean? Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jersey. So you're originally from Detroit, right?
No,
Originally?
I'm originally from Chicago, but grew up in Pontiac, Michigan.
Oh,
Hmm.
all right. So I wasn't sure because you moved around a lot. I'm
Heck
trying to
yeah.
play catch up. But I know you was in Detroit or something, right? Wasn't you in Detroit?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were on the outskirts of Detroit, so yeah,
Uh,
yeah. My wife, she's born and raised in Detroit, so
yeah, that's
Seven
where
Mile and Lash.
because I seen an interview that she did and she was saying she was that's probably why I probably got that mixed up. Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
So do you give your wife a little bit of leniency when it comes down to her being an artist because she is your, wife? Do you let her go with some stuff like, "All right, it's cool." No, you like
Mm-mm. No.
you like, "No, why
No, no,
not?"
no. No, because if you want to get in this business, and like she's the main reason I'm in the whole business situation, because like I didn't know nothing about the music industry like that.
Yeah,
And I just started she was on tour doing stage plays, and a lot of people were asking her like, why don't you have no CD or anything out? And she came back to me and was like, "Hey, you think you could get me in the studio and we start recording or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I don't care." and then we started getting got because we were so green. And I
Yeah.
was like, man, I will never be in this situation again. So I started paying lawyers to sit down with them, learn information. Maestro from Silent Riot, and he sat down with me, taught me some game. Swifty McVeigh from D12, he taught me how some things too, and I just started picking their brains. And but I would pay them though, you know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to invest in this. So that's why I don't let her get away with everything,
Okay.
because it's like, she got to treat it like a business too. I can't just be like, I got to operate in my business sense. She got to operate in hers, and then as all the other artists do too.
Yeah,
It's no side. It's no getting by in business because you're a business as an artist.
that's true.
So it's
That
like, yeah. So it's like if you ain't want to do business, what's the purpose?
right. You know how tough this business is, right? Why do you want
Mhm.
to still stay in it? Because you know how with it in details and all of the drama that goes in it. Why you don't just say no? I don't want you involved in this crap because it's just a lot.
Well, I mean, it's the thing about it is like, my foundation is God, so it's like I see it as a servant moment to where I'm like that light in the dark places, and I'm the help that a lot of people don't understand that they need and want. So wherever people receive my advice or what I tell them, like, hey, look, I saw this, this. I'm like pretty much the blind spots. I'm showing them where their blind spots are, and
Mm.
it's up to them to listen. And if they don't want to listen, which is
No, that's true. They do not listen. That is very true. All right, so I know you teach artists about like the importance to go to like, conferences. What's your opinion on why they really should, focus on conferences and stuff like that and conventions, like for them to perform and stuff?
well, as far as like going to conventions, I would say the knowledge piece of it, because a lot of people want to know, how do you get in sync? How do you get paid for this or that? And that's where a lot of us are sitting on panels. That's where we are, and learning how to network and know what your business needs at the time and what stage you are in your career. That's so important to know when you're going into a networking event. So you're not just going in there reaching everybody and then you don't learn nothing. So you know who to connect with when you go in there. And then if there's a performance opportunity, I mean, that's an opportunity for you to perform in front of some people that may have some pull, or that may um, have a tour or something going on, or just to get that exposure. And then you also still report that performance, and you get paid as a songwriter if you wrote that song. So
True.
it's just a lot of different aspects to it, to where you just got to go in there knowing what you need and what you came there for, and not be BSing about it. Just know what your business needs, and if that's not the conference where you need, don't go to it.
Right. After they get off the panels, right? Because I did a
Mhm.
video it's like a couple days ago. After they get off the panel, what's your advice on what they should do with that knowledge? Like how long does it take for them? How long does it take for them to apply it? Should it be like a couple days right away? Should it just slowly, gradually? And like should they have been taking notes? Like what do you think your advice is as far as that goes?
A lot of times I just tell them, man, just get to work as soon as possible. When you get back to your hotel or when you get back to your home, start applying what we just taught you. Because the thing about it is, it's going to be somebody else that's going to actually get there before you do, and if they get there before you do, there may be a situation of where, like, dang, I was lackadaisy on it, and I missed the opportunity. So
Mm,
I tell them to go for it immediately.
go for it immediately. You have a different variety
Hmm.
of artists, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I know you're a man of God. And Vita, she talk her stuff.
Oh yeah.
But she come to think about it, she's not real raunchy with it.
Mhm.
But she would be like a different artist that I would think for you to pick up. So that was kind of like a odd situation. How did you come across like that? Because I would never pick Vita for you to, like, get to the roster, cause she, like, real
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? She
yeah,
Vita.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But shoot, but a lot of people don't see the other side of Vita as well too. You know, the servant side, the side that's out here talking to the young girls, that's encouraging them. That's she has a children's book that just came out. And
Oh,
matter of fact, hey, she just texted me just now. That's crazy. You spoke her up. Hold
okay.
on one second. But but yeah, you know what I'm saying. She's a sweet person, good hearted. You know, the rapping and the business side, you know, that's just a whole nother situation. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of things that she had to go through during the in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? And it's some things that she may need some advice on and be like, hey, you know what, this, you know, that may not be a good move on this and that. You know, so you know, it's just being there and being a supportive figure for someone when they're in their time of need. And then she's also like I said, she's a sweet person. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like I'm not pushing just because she, you know, may talk raunchy or whatever on her lyrics or whatever. You know, that's still her gift, and she's reaching a whole nother avenue of people that will listen to her. So now she's opening the door to where, okay, she can pull out the children's book. She could get these young girls and tell them some things that she went through so they don't go through it. You know what I mean? So it's just a whole nother side of it.
That's dope.
I don't judge.
That's dope. No, because like people that's like really religious or like in the word of God, they kind of frown on that type of music. Like, we not
Yeah.
doing that. So that's good. I'm glad you open minded today. You know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And then like I tell a lot of even my gospel artists, I be like, don't be scared to charge because these churches, you have a ministry and that you gotta build. And God never said that we had to be poor. You know what I'm saying? He said be a good steward over your finances. All the all the people with the talents, they had to multiply it, right? So I
Mm,
mean, be fruitful and multiply.
yeah. What do you think about, like, people when they say, that you shouldn't charge like, the manager shouldn't charge the artist? Because they say that
Mhm,
sometimes. Y'all shouldn't be charging the artist, y'all shouldn't be taking the 10%, 20%, you should be doing it because you love the artist or whatever. They don't want nobody else to get paid but them, but, like, what do you say
mhm.
to stuff like that?
Yeah. Now, if they're charging like a monthly fee, I don't do that.
Okay.
What I do is I charge a percentage, and that percentage is my investment in your business. Because an artist manager is, you know, what I'm saying we're managing that career. It's just like any other business. You know, you got the CEO, which is the artist. You got a CEO that's in the restaurant. They have a manager that's stewarding and helping guide the business into the right direction. Even though the CEO may be the visionary, but we're the ones that's putting all the strategies, the systems together, and making sure that the vision of the CEO is put together. So why not? Why wouldn't we get our 10%? Now, this is another thing. An artist that's not ready for a manager, they're gonna always complain about, oh man, you getting 10%. I only got $300 for this show. You know, you had nothing to manage, but you wanted a manager. You know what I mean? And that comes with that. I got to take because like I even stopped doing like the communities and different things like that, you know, because it's like, you know, you would do all of this work and like that's taking me away from my artists. You know, it started declining my bottom line, which was my actual artists that were signed to me. So I'm like, I'm sitting up here chasing, trying to help other artists that don't want to listen when I got a whole team of artists and a whole staff that I got to make sure that eats. You know, um, so yeah, yeah. You gotta have something to manage, and then it's mainly the ones that don't have anything to manage and don't know how to listen and don't know how to operate in structure and systems. They're the ones that's always complaining about. Well,
Yeah,
man, why you got to take this percent? Why you got to take that? Why you got to take? It's business.
right. And then you take it like you
You know,
said,
we work for you.
um, you taking away
Shoot,
your house and your time and
yeah.
all that. They don't understand that part, which is crazy.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got to be on the road and all this other stuff, and got to deal with this. And like, look, here's a prime example. Shoot, when I first started out, sometimes like even sometimes now, it may be like 1 year, it may be 6 months, it may be 3 years before I see a payment from what we invested in the time wise, just to
Right.
get that artist to that certain moment or that certain show or that certain booking or whatever, or that certain sync placement. So we not getting paid either. So it's you know,
Yeesh.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
lot.
it's a lot.
It's
Yeah.
a lot. What's the hardest part about being a manager?
Um, I would say uh dealing with the multiple personalities. You
No.
you you really you really you really gotta be sane to deal with different people at different levels. Cause like you got all of these people pulling on you, and you got to know how to manage that yourself and not make yourself overwhelmed. You got to know how to delegate and put people in the right position so you can position yourself as your CEO of your company to be able to be available for opportunities like this. Like I'm available to do an interview with you. I'm available to like I'm about to go golfing and go see Michael Jackson tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you
Right.
gotta you gotta find a way to manage what you're managing to be a good steward over it. So
Yeah. Is it like as far as the management goes, like how do you pick who you want to manage? Like what do they have to have? Or what's the quality
um
or that you look for
the
in it?
qual- my qualities I look for in an artist is one that's not DMing me all the time. Like I got the hottest song, because if you got the hottest song, it will be hot right now. If you're the hottest artist, you will be hot right now. You don't need me. A lot of artists, and any artist, they really don't need a manager. They just need to know how to operate and be in structure.
Mm,
So like you really don't need a manager. But if you do get a manager though, just know how, just learn how to listen. And I think I just lost the question. What was the question? One more time, because I got the rambling and then
what
had a brain fart, and I was like, okay, let me keep talking. It may come back, and it didn't.
what is the qualifications that they need for you specifically to pick them up as a manager?
Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, so the qualifications I would say is to have a business mindset.
Okay.
This can't be a hobby for you to want me to manage you. Um, you have to. We got 2 ears and one mouth for a reason. So um, know what you want, and I have them write down what their 5 year goals is, what their 90-day goals is, and what their 10 year goals is. Because we're not about to sit up here and be walking around guessing. Because that's my time, that's your time. I don't want to waste your time as you hiring me to be your manager. And I just want to make sure that you're prepared to operate in structure, because like just because you get a manager, just because you get a label, that doesn't mean that your career is going to go off. You still got building process, you still got a foundation to lay, and we may have to go back and redo some things, because those 5 years that you messed up some stuff, shoot, it's probably going to take like 1 or 2 years just to revamp that and get
Yeah,
you back focused on the right in the right areas so you can build on that.
true. How do you know when they're serious or not? It's not just a hobby. Like what are the
Um,
that you see already from like their social media or whatever? Like how do you know like yeah they're serious? Nah, you just playing. You know.
when I know they're serious, they're operating out of determination and not being desperate. Because you could tell the desperate moves of people. They're picking up everything. They feel like they're always missing out on something. They're in survival mode.
Mm,
Whereas the artist that doesn't, it's a factor of, it was a book that Russell Simmons had a long time ago. He was just talking about needing, the power of not needing nothing from no one. You could tell when an artist don't really need a manager, but they choose to have a manager so that they could delegate and do what they need to do to get to the next level of the vision that they have in their head. Like just look at Beyonce. She knows what she wants, and the people that can't do it, they gone.
right.
You gotta follow the CEO's vision, but then the manager comes in and say, okay, let's structure this part. Let's set up these systems. What is your financial systems? How are they set up so you can make sure that you're making sure that you're paying your taxes when you go on tour and all this other stuff. They're business minded. So like that's how I could tell. It's like
Mm,
they're operating out of desperation.
yeah, that desperate stuff is a lot. Now, I had an artist before, and I was managing them at one point, and we
Mhm,
got into this little situation. I just want to get your advice on this, right? So I'm managing them, but they're talking to all these different promoters and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
mhm,
and then I had booked them for this event, and they started talking to the person behind my back, obviously. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
And so
Oh
it
yeah,
like it started getting confusing because I would tell them stuff and then they're like, well, they already said this and this. And I'm like, what? It just became like this
yeah.
big mess, you know? And
Hmm.
I just was like, you know what? You go ahead then. Like, what do you like? I gave up on a situation, but I'm sure you might not
Okay.
have, but I wasn't getting no money from them either. So I don't
Yeah.
know. And we got into this big argument. What do you suggest I would have did if it was you?
I'm the king of let go. I'm like, shoot, I'm not getting involved in nobody's life lessons. I done told you how to operate. Because like I'm operating in a position to where I don't really need you.
Right.
So it's like it's a blessing to, for me to be like, okay, yeah, I'll manage you, but like all of that going behind your back, they're gonna continue to do that. They're not gonna change. They show you who they are up front. Cause like I even had artists that did that. Go behind the back, listen, oh, I got these powerful people that's gonna do this and do that. And then they end up getting in a record deal, and then they end up getting dropped from the label, end up getting got, a whole bunch of different situations that come out, but I'm remove myself from their life lessons because I don't need to be involved in that. I got enough headaches, so
Right.
I'm good.
Yeah. They
I'm gonna
told
let
me
them go.
I gave up too fast. I shouldn't have did, but I'm just more like I don't like you. I don't like the headache. I don't like if we already talk. If that's the purpose of me being your manager, is supposed I'm supposed to manage you and give you advice and tell you what's going on,
Mhm.
and you trust me for me to give you the proper information. But they wanted to be slick, and so it was
Yeah,
like, yeah, you go ahead and do it then. And then when it went wrong, they was like,
yeah,
well, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. You
yeah. They always come back, and they,
yeah,
they they want you to fix it after they done messed it up. I'm like, I'm good.
right. Right, because you didn't know what you was doing, so now you want me to fix it, you know?
Yep.
Um, when they're real desperate, what's one of the most desperate things you've seen an artist do?
Um. Hmm. One of the most desperate things.
Desperate, because they do a lot.
Dang.
They do a lot of
Yeah, they do. They do, man. Mm.
Oh, we could come back to that if you wanna think
Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's come back here because I got a
because it's a
couple, and then
lot,
it's like
right?
a certain thing. It's like one thing I want to say, but it's just like I don't want
It can
that
be
out there. You know what I'm
2 if you
saying? That
got
that what they did because because people are smart. They're gonna figure out who it is and what they did. So I'm trying to figure out somebody else outside of that one.
yeah.
Yeah, but hey, man, my God, sheesh.
Okay, what do you think about artists turning into podcasts? Do you suggest that, or do you suggest them focusing on their craft?
Yeah, I'm all for the podcast because it gives you an opportunity. David Shands told me a long time ago, before podcasting was even popular, he was like, bro, you need to get a podcast. I didn't listen. I was being like an artist was. I felt like I was like, I got too much going on right now, starting a whole new thing because but back to the podcast situation. I think it's a great idea because you're feeding off of emotions. Here's another opportunity for you to feed off emotion. Consumers, that's how they buy. They buy off emotions. And you may have a song that's catering to like relationships or whatever. Then now you got a relationship podcast. Now you got your song playing behind there. You got introductions to where you could talk to people and learn from people that you don't some things that you may not know in business and all kind of different things. It's an open door. I love it.
You love it? Okay.
I love it as an idea for
It
artists.
because you know how like it's like it's somewhat distracting because sometimes they get caught up in the podcast to where they forget to do music,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
all that stuff. As long as they can keep focus on multiple things, or you could be like, "Hey," you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, or if they just know to, okay, at this season of my life and my career, let's just focus on the podcast and build that, and let that YouTube money and all of that money build up, and then we're gonna reinvest that into the music side. So,
bro.
it's because like a lot of people think that multiple streams of income is running multiple businesses. It's not. It's building that one business up that's going to be the one that's generating the income. Then we diversify the income, offer different things. We buy different music catalogs. We buy different, um, we start the podcast. We invest in that, so that could multiply instead of, just business hopping, because a lot of people be having business ADHD and just
Yeah.
be doing this and that, and then they all drained at the end of the day and can't do nothing, and neither one of the businesses made a dollar that
Right. Right.
day.
You feel like artists have a lot of mental things going on because it is hard being in this business and you being
Mhm.
rejected and you got your own personal life, and then do you think that they should be a lot of them should be going to therapy sometimes with for the mental situations, because it's not easy being rejected every day and dealing with your own
Mhm.
personal problems and trying to make it and you're broke and it's hard.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard, and I definitely recommend therapy. I go to therapy myself. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a
Yeah.
way for me to like not think nothing about music. I feel how Bernie Mac was feeling when he always said, "Man, when I'm around my people, I don't want to talk nothing about no music." Well, he said entertainment and comedy and stuff like that, but I'm like, man, I just want to play golf. I just want to fish. I just want to relax. Give me
Yeah.
some scotch or something and just chill. Just be to myself. That's my peace.
Yeah.
But mental health is real serious in the industry, and I believe that everybody should be doing therapy.
Yeah, people be scared of it, but it's definitely.
Hmm.
Do you go off of like handshake deals? No,
Mm-mm.
not even
No,
like
because people get amnesia. Mm-mm.
no, nothing. Okay, not
Mm-mm.
even nothing small.
They get amnesia. No, because the thing is, it's like you let that window of opportunity come in that lets you operate how you really don't operate, and then it starts creeping in a little bit more and more and more and more. So
Mhm.
you got to stay the way you are, or you're gonna let the little fox tear your whole little situation up.
Right. He said the little fox. Okay. What advice would you tell an artist that's signed, in the next 3 or 4 years? Like, what do you tell them? Because I know you had, I think you said from 16 to 19 that you said you had was being an artist, but then you stopped. So if somebody was managing, like if you managed an artist and they stopped like in 3 or 4 years while you was managing, what advice would you tell them if they decided I don't want to do this no more?
If they decide they don't want to do it no more, I know that's how they feel. I'm not going to force them into something that they're not going to be passionate about. They're not going to put their all into. Like I will have a conversation and be like, hey, look, so what's making you do this? Is it a pull from God? Because like I get a lot of artists that be like, hey, man, I need to quit my job, man. And
Mm,
sometimes it may not be the right time to quit the job at the moment. And I will put the advice out there. It's up to them to listen. And
right.
then, because like I always tell them, like your job is your business partner until you can sustain some income. But if you already got a pile of money saved up, now I can show you how to increase it.
Mm.
So it's just all about I don't know. I lost my train of thought again. I'm sorry.
I was a risk taker. I actually, when I was an artist, I left my job for 7 years and I had this nice little lump sum of my 401k. I
Mhm.
know I'm
For
crazy.
sure.
I'm crazy like that, but I took that money and I applied it into my dreams. I wouldn't advise that for everybody, but like, you
Mhm.
know, I did get some situations out of that, but my daughter had got really sick. So I kind of focused on
Mhm.
being. But,
Mhm.
I really was like, "I don't care, I'm taking this money," and I believed in myself.
Okay.
So, I wouldn't advise that to
You know,
anybody else, but would you say something like that to somebody? Like, "Go ahead, you got this money." You probably
yeah, I would because like that happened to me. I had this both situations. I quit my first job. I was a janitor. I quit too early. I quit too soon. I didn't have nothing saved up, but I know I had like two more checks that was coming, and I was like, man, I'm gonna step out on faith. I ain't had no wisdom. I ain't had no plan. I didn't know nothing. So,
Mm.
you know, end up getting evicted. End up getting all this other stuff, and then somebody end up getting over on us trying to take our song, my wife's song.
Oh, wow.
Um, so I think it was about I think it was about a year later, I was able to find another job. General Motors ended up calling me when we were on our way back from I think Dominican Republic or something like that. And I normally don't answer 800 numbers. I answered it that day.
It was
And
a
they was like,
1-800
hey, this
number?
is it was a 1-800 number.
Wow.
It was like, yeah, this is General Motors, and we got your referral, and we would like to see if you could start Monday. I was like, heck yeah. So they had like profit sharing and all this other things stuff like that. So I started learning how to manage my money in there, and then I started putting my money up for the 401k, and then I put like 50% of the check up into the profit sharing thing or whatever. And I had a plan this time. So I
Right.
was able to leave, and it's been almost 20 years now that I've been full time.
Yeah, so you kinda like me then. Yeah, okay. Everybody
Yeah, so I definitely feel you. Yeah.
was like, "You're crazy. What are you doing? This is your life savings." I was like, "I don't care." And I had a daughter,
Yeah,
so
for
it was
real.
like it was yeah, I was really bugging, but, it was to me,
Hmm.
I was like, "I don't nobody else gonna believe in me. It's my money anyway." You know?
Facts.
So, would
Yep.
you take on an artist like, say if you had an artist and later on down the road, he winds up being a snitch down the road, like 6ix9ine. Would you keep him or
Mhm.
would you let him go?
It really all depends on the situation. If it's going to do some harm to me and my family, I gotta let it go. I can't hold on to something that's gonna jeopardize my life and my family. I got a whole family to build up and to make
Right.
sure that they good. I got three children, I got a wife, but I will always be by whoever that's signed to me. I'm gonna have their back to the, what I'm saying, all the way down, what I'm saying. So, but when it started coming to the safety of it, I'm not no street dude.
He said,
No, heck no. You're not about to put my family in jeopardy. Mm-mm. Hell no.
right. Right. You ain't putting my life in jeopardy over nothing. Yeah,
Facts.
it's levels to the situation,
Hmm.
you know. With
Yep.
the artists that you see right now, if you had the opportunity to interview any of them, which 3 artists would you pick right now if they said, "Yeah, I'll manage you. I'll let you manage me."
Dead or alive, or just
They're
the ones
alive.
that's alive right now. Definitely LL Cool J.
Ooh.
Um,
Oh,
let
okay.
me see who else. Um, Michael Jackson,
Mm,
and who else would I manage?
Michael's a good one, though. I think everybody wanna
Yeah,
manage Michael.
for, for sure, for sure. I would say Eminem. Even though I'm close to like the D12 family and all of that, I
Mhm.
would say Eminem too because like it his career was a challenge. You know what I'm saying? And it's like so many different things that you had to overcome. And Paul did a great job of managing him, getting him to where he is now, and
Mm.
in his business sense, like with the restaurants and all of the different things that he's doing around Detroit and stuff. So I would say M just for the journey ride to learn the learning curve to flow with him.
Okay. I wasn't expecting him. Okay. Alright. If you had to give your old self advice on now, what would you say?
Keep going because it seemed hard, but and make sure that you listen. You know what I'm saying, and stay on the course, and don't let nobody deter you from what you actually believe in. Because like it was so many people like, man, that little acting thing or that little music thing, man, it's a million and one chance or whatever. But if I would have still been on my job, I would have never been able to take care of my mom
Mm,
until to the day she passed. Because she said she didn't want to go in a nursing home. I had her at her home, had nurses there to provide for her every day,
yeah.
24/7. So it's like just to have that blessing of being able to say, all these people said, no, music is not going to be able to do this, acting is not going to be able to do that. Because I stopped acting, some of the movies and stuff I'm in, I don't get as much as I did back then, but we still get residual checks. A couple dollars, but we still get that. And the
Hey,
music it's just been a blessing, on the publishing side. That's my real estate. Those songs are my real estate properties.
right. I definitely appreciate like what you do for the culture. That's why I was like, I gotta interview him. Because this is like
Sure.
important culture. And that's what I try to do. I try to
Mhm.
get knowledge because sometimes they don't hear it right from me when a guy says it
Yeah,
or
yeah.
it is a little bit it hit a little different. It is what it is. I
Mhm.
understand. So when a man says it, it's like, hey, oh, he said it. And I'm like, I just said the same thing. I literally said the same thing. But, I understand that. If the music industry was so crazy, right? When you said you got evicted, what did your family and friends say? Like, now you back at it again. They like, why you doing it again?
Mhm.
And what did they say when you got evicted in the process of that? You know, where did you go? Did you go home?
Where No, I take that back. Yep. My wife's mom and dad allowed us to stay there until we got back on our feet.
Okay.
And that,
Un-
that was a couple times. It was like three times.
Ooh,
It was
3
like three times, man. Yeah, it was three times, man. It was a struggle. It was a journey.
At you
And then we got
weird, like, 'cause
huh?
you man. I know they looked at you like you the man, you're not supposed to be put
Yeah.
in this situation. Woo.
Yeah, and the mental stress that I had on me of just like how you said, like I'm the man of the house, and it's like, and then I remember one time I was on Facebook Live trying to carry a couch out by myself on my back, and then just had the camera like set up, and I was just on live like, yeah, we selling, I'm selling the couch or whatever, I was just trying to make a sale, and then people just on there laughing at me, and then I
Oh,
would reach out to people in the DMs and stuff and say, hey, would you sponsor this? Get a job, nigga. On my fault. I don't know if I can say, the stuff
no,
on
you
but
good.
you know, but they was like
They was
dogging
up.
the mess out of me. You know what I'm saying? And some of the people that were in my family or some of the people that I was looking up to, they weren't in a position to help me. So
Mm,
it's like I had no choice but to depend on God. Cause like even the church, when I went to the church, they was like, we're not a welfare center. So I'm like, but dang, you know what I'm saying? When the
wow.
situations of you're a leader, you gotta pay this amount, you gotta have this in and that, and all that bully sewing, and sow this amount and you get this, you know, it was like all of that went out the window, so you know, yeah, it was hard on me mentally, and I'm like, me and my wife got married at 23, and then by the time we were, I think 25, we had three children, three small children. So, I'm just looking at them like, man, how am I going to be able to get out of this situation and
Yeah.
and have them positioned to where they need to be so they don't have to go through this.
Right.
And I just kept trusting in God and just kept going. So I was
'Cause
like, man, I really believe in this.
you went right back
Hmm?
in. Like, I'm not stopping. I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna try again.
Yeah, I tried
Ooh,
again with another job. It was just it went from janitor to
General
no, no,
Mark.
no, no. It went from nursing homes to janitor, and then from janitor to General Motors.
Yeah. General Motors is a big
Yeah,
deal.
so
It's huge.
yeah, and the blessing out of that too is I kept asking them. I was like, "Yo, who is your marketing company?" They wouldn't tell me, so I just end up just kept on going, and then like one day they used to always say I was crazy because I'm real goofy too. And then like we would be on the A wall and like all the owners and stuff would come in. And I just walked up to him, was like, I stopped working on the car and I was like, hey, quick question. Who's the marketing company for General Motors? Because I want to know
Oh,
who is behind selling these cars that I'm building. you know,
Mhm.
and they was like, "Oh, you gonna get fired?" I was like, "I don't care," because at that time I was in position to where I'm like, "Okay, I already got an exit plan." So, but I'm not gonna lie, I did get scared because
How old is that
I
scared?
did get I did get scared, and then God was like March 9th, and I was like, "Man," I was like, "Am I really hearing God's voice?" On this situation. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna work one more week. Maybe if I do one more week, I'll be good. Or I don't know. But I ended up getting hurt that same day, twisted
Oh,
my ankle in the thing, and almost got ran over by one of the cars. And I was like, yep, it was time for me to go.
oh,
So
so that
I haven't been back since.
oh,
Yeah, but
that's crazy.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you
my fault. I kind of went off
no,
track
no,
probably, but
that was good. That was good stuff. I appreciate that. Because people need they need to hear the realness and stuff sometimes. You know what I mean? I think
hmm
it's good that being honest. Um, I know we was talking about you talked about LaRussell and him leaving and all that. You think it's like a publicity stunt or whatever.
hmm
I don't think it's a publicity stunt. I think he's
hmm
depressed. But I mean, I could be wrong. I think he's going through it because I looked at a lot of his interviews and he looks stressed. Like it's a lot of pressure to
hmm
do especially do it at his level that he's doing it. I hope I'm wrong though.
hmm
But like
yeah,
having that type of stress on you and you need to just shut down and just get away from everything. Hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right.
yeah, yeah. It's all part of the act. It's all
Yeah.
part of the gimmick. It's like you got a situation to where like yeah he may be going through it a little bit mentally because he didn't get a reaction that he thought he was going to get maybe, but because people can be cruel on the internet, and it will take a toll on you if you let the comments and all of that stuff get to you. But I know for sure this dude got something cooking to where he getting ready to launch something because you don't just disappear like that all the time. It's the I forgot what they call it, but it's like the dang, I don't know if it's like called a pop out factor, but it's like
Okay.
something in marketing where you fall back and you disappear. It's kind of like how Bruno Mars, like you won't hear from Bruno Mars. You may hear something from him, like maybe in 5 more years or something like that, and then he'll duck off, disappear for about 2 or 3 years, and then pop back up.
He's more seasoned. Like Bruno Mars is more
Yeah.
seasoned in the game, in that aspect. So he's probably working on something like
hmm
Rihanna working on stuff, but she ain't doing nothing right now. But she gonna pop out one day and be like, "Here go a single."
Yeah.
But with LaRosse, right? My whole thing with him
hmm
is that how long should this process be before the pop out? Because they leave, they forget about you and poof.
hmm
You
and see that's the thing. He gonna pop out with something to where it's like he's involved, but it's going to be within that partnership of Rock Nation to
know?
where it's like, okay, where what I couldn't do on my own, I'm about to lift somebody else up and push them out there, because like everybody dogging me right now. So why don't I just develop this he may be developing an artist or maybe developing a new label or something. I don't know. But it's gonna be something that's gonna be tied to Rock Nation because he got all the resources now. Because
We
like
need
if
to
you
have a
think about it,
bet.
somebody that
We need to have a
huh?
bet. We need a bet. Are you allowed to bet?
Yeah, I'm with it.
Let's bet like 20. Let's bet a good 20.
20, I'm with it. I'm with it. Put 20 on it.
Yeah, so 20
Yep,
is
yep.
I feel like he's depressed and he gonna fall back,
Mm-hmm.
come out and have this whole thing of like how what happened. And then you saying he gonna pop out with some new stuff.
Yeah, I,
I,
I think he gonna pop out with something new. Yep, yep. And
that's
I'm gonna hold to it. You know what I'm saying? So
what
if I'm
I'm
wrong,
gonna hold
hey,
you to that
I
20.
got you.
I love a good bet. I love a good bet.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope I'm wrong though, because I really like
Mhm.
LeBron. So I'm hoping that I'm totally wrong. But I
Yeah.
guess because I've seen artists do it so many times, they be like, I'm going off of Instagram, and I'm like, why? And they be like, I'm just tired, I'm stressed out. And then I'm like, oh my God.
Mhm.
Like, they don't even have half the trouble he got. So I don't know. I guess
Yep.
I've seen it so many times with them doing that. So that's why I
Mhm.
guess I feel like that. But I could be wrong.
And see, the other thing with those other artists is they didn't have a money machine that was like continuously working on their behalf. They had the record label's machine working. He got his own machine working,
Yeah.
so he could disappear and still be making money because he got all these stock holders, within the songs and stuff like that. That's why the what is it, Luminate. That's why Luminate did like how BDS did, what SoundScan did back in the day to Prince, because
Mhm.
it was incentivized,
Right.
so
Okay.
yeah.
Hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm gonna be wanting my 20. Be wanting my
So I got you.
20.
I got you.
Right. Is there anything that you want to talk about? I know you got a lot of things going on. You got the publishing, the Benjamin Entertainment
Mhm,
Group, you got the management situation as well. Is there anything else
mhm.
that you want to talk about? Any events or any of your artist plugs that you want to let them know?
Yeah, sure. Sammy Cocos, he has a project out called Lipstick on My Shirt. Siobhan has a project out called Live Without. Then we got Vita. She got some new music that she working on that's getting ready to come out. Then we got the children's book that just came out. Let me see who else got something going. Beth, we're getting ready to be at the City Winery, getting ready to start the Get to Know Me tour. So we're gonna be running around the City Winery. So you
Oh,
know, look forward to seeing everybody there. And so other than that, man, I like to push them out there because they the ones doing the work. You know what I'm saying? And I believe in my artists.
you got to. You got to. Because if you
Got
don't,
to.
sometimes you could believe in them more than they believe in themselves. That's when you gotta kind of like,
Facts. That's we gotta fall back.
yeah,
When you
no,
start believing them more than they believe in themselves. Woo-wee,
I know.
that'd be
That's
the worst.
yeah. All right. Well, it was definitely a pleasure having you.
Yeah.
And I
I
wish you
enjoyed it. Appreciate you.
nothing but success in everything that you got going on. Oh, the podcast that you got coming up. Well, the podcast that you do. You want to talk about that really quick? You put the artist roundtable. It's kind of not a podcast, but it's like a show, right? More so.
Yeah. Artist roundtable is just something I do with the people like every once in a while that's already been in my community, that's on my email list. Just because they be wanting to know how to do this and do that. If you on my email list, shoot, I may pop out and do a Zoom. Ain't no charge.
Hey,
It's just for you to be able to come in there, get what you need, and if it's something that you need, taking a run with it. And if it's not, maybe the next one will be.
now you sound like me where they always get on me about doing free stuff. They be like, fire, stop doing all this free stuff. You sound just like me with the free stuff. So is there a
Yeah.
cutoff point with the free stuff?
Yeah, this is where it cuts off for me when you're pulling me away from my artist or you pulling me away from my family. Then that's when it's like, okay, well, you're gonna get hit with a fee because like I gotta stop what I'm doing to come talk to you, and I don't even know if you really serious or not.
Right, right. Even a constellation, like if you wanted to sit down, that
Hmm.
fee too, or no?
Yeah. If they want a consultation, shoot, I definitely would charge for that. And I would prefer to do like I would
Right.
prefer to do like a whole group, knock the whole group out instead of doing the one on ones.
Right.
Because like I'll make the one on one so high that it would be like, shoot, if you're really serious, and then the crazy thing about it is the ones that do pay that fee, I end up reinvesting it in them and they don't even know it. Like I may run into some radio pluggers or something like that and be or like what's the thing that be going on, New Music Monday or something. I may invest in that and then they think they just got booked off of that,
Wait, you
but it
pay
was
your own
actually a
use
fee.
your own money?
But
You use your
yeah, I use my own money to do it for it. Like if they do the consultation,
oh, they
what I'm
love you.
saying? Like if because yeah, because like they and the crazy thing is they wouldn't even know. They don't even know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just they was like they believed and value me enough to pay that fee that I may set. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, cool. So I see you serious. And then I see them working. I'm like, oh, okay, bet. So I
Mm,
just go and sow some of the money into that.
yeah. Yeah, I've
And
done
they
that.
they never know.
Yeah, they never know, but then they'll be talking crap like you ain't do nothing, you know.
Yeah,
Because I
they they
always
they
tell
they, they talk
artists
cash money.
Yeah, I always tell artists, I'm like, "You walk away with pictures, videos, content, all that, and I can't do nothing with that. That's your stuff." You know what I
Yep,
mean? I don't try to hold it
for
hostage or
sure.
anything, so it's like you walk away with way more than what I walk away with, so but
Hmm.
thank you so much for helping the culture. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? We need more
No
people.
problem at all. Appreciate you for what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Trying,
sure.
trying, you know what I mean? I gotta hook up with people like you to keep me educated and keep me motivated and keep me like in the loop of what's going on. I watch a lot of your videos, so I appreciate you helping the culture out and doing what you're doing, especially for free. Like they just have no idea how hard it is for somebody to do something like that and just give them jewels. And they just be like, "Oh
Yeah.
no, I don't want that. Where's Jay-Z at? He's not doing that." And it's like, come on. Jay-Z ain't
Yeah,
about you. you know? It's
for
crazy.
real. Yep.
All right, well, it's an honor, pleasure as well. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm honored.
Okay. Thank you so much. All right. Air It Out Radio is the queen of internet radio. Make sure you got your site, airitoutradio.net. Smack.
Church.